Oh God. Okay. Do you want to count down? Do you want me to count down?
I want you to do it.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, friend.
Hi.
You're adorable. Just had
So
to
are
say
you.
that. You look adorable. You look like you're 13 years old.
Oh my God.
You do.
Seriously.
You do. You 100% look 13 years old in the cutest way possible.
Is that like a dorky 13-year-old? A nerdy 13-year-old?
It's so cute. You look so cute with your little braids and your glasses and your head wrap. You look so absurdly young. It's like so cute.
Speaking shit.
You are so cute.
Is that because I got my jowls fixed from last week?
Yes, it's working.
I got some Botox.
Did you get some Scotch tape? Scotch tape. And
so do you know how like the Google and everything listens?
Yes. Oh no. What did you get suggested?
There was like a suggested video on, I don't know, like Instagram or TikTok or one of those things that I waste my time on sometimes, with somebody that had like some special tape thing that they went on, and they went, oh my God, look at the difference in my face. Oh my God.
I've seen the ones for the eyes. They're like a clear strip, and it's like they have like one done and then the other one not done. And I'm like, please tell me you're not at a party. No one's going to see the tape on your eyelid.
I know.
Like, that's ludicrous. I just have the saggy lids. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right if your lids are saggy. That's just life. It just happens. We love you still, even if your lids are saggy. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
X-nay on the tape. I am the most excited for this week's episode because I've been wanting to do this one. So, because it's the coolest thing in the whole wide world. When I first read about it, I was like, shut the fuck up. It's so cool. It's like history, but like to this day is like still this thing that you're about to talk about. Is
the thing is, Karen,
they don't know,
not just history. Like I didn't know as much about it as I thought I did when I started reading up. And this is like history and a heist and a mystery and a conspiracy theory and all this stuff all in one.
I'm so excited. So excited. I'm going to be your best listener ever because I'm so excited.
I hope I can do it justice and that I don't muck up, because
you're not going to muck up anything.
As usual, this was very last minute.
Well, I appreciate you because I feel the same way every time it's my week. I'm like, this is going to be an epic disaster. And it is, but we wing it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Every time I research, I come away thinking, I feel like I'm in an exam in school.
Yeah, you got to crunch.
That I cram it all in, and it's all in there moving around, but actually none of it connects and none of it makes any sense.
And then it comes out your mouth.
It's going to come out of my mouth in the correct order.
I know. Lucy, we have 10,000 downloads.
I know, that's amazing.
I don't know if you saw this, but I have I started posting on our Instagram.
We've been letting it slide lately.
As of last night was like our first post, but I posted today we get a little email from Buzzsprout, who hosts our podcast, that says like, congratulations, you have 10,000 downloads. And so I posted on Instagram and I tagged Ginger, and I was like, Ginger, thank you so much for like your repeated watch time.
How many of those 10,000 is Ginger to thank?
I think she's just being kind. And she just hits play and then walks away from her devices so that we rack up the downloads, but actually no one's listening. So Ginger, we appreciate you so much as always. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about the Stone of Destiny.
Even that is the most Destiny. It sounds like a cheesy 80s movie, and I'm in.
A lot of it is a little bit like a cheesy 80s movie. I know it is. In fact, part of the story was made into a movie. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. It goes with my hair, which I'm rocking my Bon Jovi.
It was made into a movie in 2008.
Shut up! It's like recent?
I have not seen it, but I might have to go and search it out now and watch it. It's got Robert Carlyle in it. Have you heard of him?
Never heard of him. Who's that?
Oh, you must have done.
Wait, I have to Google him right now.
He's a
Robert.
famous Scottish actor.
Oh.
He plays Rumpelstiltskin in the what's it called? That long running TV show about all the fairy tale characters.
Oh, here we go. I'm looking him up right now. There's 3 pictures of here, and 2 of them it's like I've never seen him before. And then there's one picture of him where he has kind of long hair, and then that he looks vaguely familiar. I don't know him very well.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so surprised. He's a really famous Scottish actor.
Well, what's the movie called? Is it called The Stone of Destiny?
I'm just looking that up for you just now. Yes, it's called The Stone of Destiny. It was made in 2008.
We have to see
it. And I know, I need to watch it. I wonder what it's available on. I have no idea.
As usual, we have no idea what we're doing when we come on.
But there are some other famous actors in there. So Robert Carlyle was in, Once Upon a Time, that's what it was called. Did you ever watch that?
Once Upon a Time. Yes.
If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It's so good. It's about the Wicked Queen and Sleeping Beauty or whatever.
The musical? Is that the musical?
No, it's like a long running TV show, and it's got Captain Hook in it, and it's got Brave, and it's got basically every single storybook character, and it's about how the Snow White hides from the Wicked Queen by they create this like village, this town in America and turn all the characters get transported through to this town. None of them can remember who they are.
Oh, that sounds good.
They do it to save the baby of Snow White and her husband or something. I'm probably
that's okay. We're doing one of our normal awesome tangents where we're like,
and then the child there's a glitch, and like one of them realizes, and then they're trying to get everyone to realize, but they're almost like in this weird magical spell where none of them know that they were storybook characters, and then they suddenly one by one kind of start to learn that they are. And it's got Rumpelstiltskin, who is Robert Carlyle, and the Wicked Queen, and then it's basically got and then as the series go on, it has other ones like Mulan and Brave, and they get introduced. And I can't believe you've never watched it. It's so good.
No, but I'll have to
for a while.
Oh, you know what? Oh, by the way, that movie is available on Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I found so I've been into listening to Noble Blood lately. Have you listened to that podcast?
No, I have not.
It's an Aaron Mahnke spinoff.
Oh, I love Aaron Mahnke.
I know, who is from Lore, in case you guys are not familiar. So I listened to, it's really good. It's like it's all historical royal stories, but she does an amazing job talking about it. So she was interviewing this historian, Dan Jones, who's an author, and he was talking about, he was on this Netflix series for 2 years. And his Netflix series was The Secrets of Great British Castles. So I started watching that because Sean's away all week. And then that led me to, I watched 2 episodes of that. The first one's on Edinburgh Castle. So that was really interesting.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then did you know there's a new show that just started 2 weeks ago on Apple Plus with Claire Danes and the guy who plays Loki. I can't remember his name right now. And it's called the what the hell is it called? The Serpent of Essex. And I watched the first two episodes last night. Were so good.
Oh, that
you have to watch it.
I'm gonna check that out.
It's really good. It's like it takes place in the late 1890, I think it's like 1893, because I googled what year it was supposed to start with. Normally I don't actually love Claire Danes that much. Something about her rubs me a little bit the wrong way. I was not bothered by her at all. Her British accent is amazing. And it's about,
she's the one that was in Stardust.
I don't know, I didn't see it. She was in like a 5-year, she's super famous. She was in Homeland. She's the star of Homeland.
Yeah, I think she was the one in Stardust.
It could be. She just bothers me a little bit, but she doesn't bother me when she's British. She just bothers me when she's American. And anyways, it's super good. It's like a little mythology versus religion versus history versus, and it's taking like a bit of a turn, like a bit of fantasy turn.
I'm gonna check that out once
it.
I'm finished being totally obsessed with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial.
Oh my gosh. I tried to like tune in and it was so dumb. There's so many different like YouTube features of it. I was like a little overwhelmed of which ones were gonna be the good ones. And
I just
think I was landing on them.
Actually have just been absolutely hooked on all the funny TikTok videos that people have been making.
Oh my God. I love Johnny Depp.
People are so inventive.
People
are so inventive. So like I wouldn't think to do those things, you know, they're just so funny and inventive. People are making these really funny. I know maybe we shouldn't make light of things like domestic violence, but people are making really funny TikTok videos where they're acting out what she says that happened, and it just by acting it out shows how impossible some of it is.
Right. Oh my God. That's genius. Well, you have to share some with me. You'll have to totally.
Yeah. And then the ones that because she said something in her testimony, maybe we shouldn't get into this too much, but she said something in her testimony. She was like, my dog stepped on a bee, and lots of people are making TikTok videos where they're like, she pulled a really funny face. She kind of went, my dog stepped on a bee, like that. And so people are making all these videos where they show that to begin with, and then they're like, I spat out my tea. Like,
oh my God.
I can't see, like they're saying all ones that rhyme and pulling the same face, and it is hilarious.
They are going to regret having this so much because the public is just having a heyday with the trial. Like that's going to be the
I think he did that on purpose.
Oh, you think so? It was quite genius that he did, because he's smearing her.
I think he did that on purpose so that
good for him.
Get his story out there.
Town.
Yeah,
she is banana cakes.
Yeah, she is crazy.
Yeah, she is legit crazy. Yeah. Oh my God. So let's dive in.
Let's dive into the Stone of Destiny
of nonsense. So let's dive in.
You know, why break with tradition?
That's true. We are nonsensical.
So do you want to hear everything that you possibly? I'm gonna speak quickly because there's a lot to unpack here. Whoa. And I probably am gonna skip over some bits because I didn't research that well and I don't understand some of it.
We don't need to hear. You don't need to apologize. I'm ready. I am ready, Freddie.
Just for those listeners, all five of you,
Ginger. Yep.
That don't know what the Stone of Destiny is. This is a stone it measures about 65 centimeters long, 40 wide, 27 deep, just to give you a bit of an idea of the size.
Americans don't do centimeters.
A good size Amazon box.
I love that. That's a great analogy because I don't do centimeters.
A good size Amazon cardboard box, like a medium parcel size, maybe a little bit bigger than a medium parcel size.
Okay, got it. Yep.
But it's super heavy. It's a bit, you would not be able to send it Royal Mail.
Yeah.
It's a giant rock. It is
very heavy.
152 kilos apparently. It has got 2 metal rings in it for carrying, although God knows who could be able to carry that stuff.
What did you say? 100 and how many kilos?
152
kilos. I need to know that.
The weight of
pounds.
2.
Oh, Jesus.
2 of me.
It's 135. Wait, no, you said, kilograms?
Yeah.
That's 335 pounds.
Yeah.
That's super heavy. Yeah. That's like a gigantic fat man.
Well, in Scotland, we have Highland Games, and part of the Highland Games is like the strongman, tossing the caber and lifting
335
and can you imagine these guys with their kilts? Like, I mean, who can pick up the Stone of Destiny and like picking up Destiny.
I need to go to that one in North Carolina this year. And we have to go. All right, I'm not going to tangent on that, but seriously, thank you for reminding me. Okay, That's enormous. I didn't realize how heavy that was.
No, and this is this, but wait until you hear the
makes
intrigue
it so crazy because they
conspiracy that surrounds it. That might not even be the real one. So this is a stone that all of the kings of Scotland have been crowned upon. It's been used to crown them.
Coronation. Since when?
Like a coronation stone. Since forever. So of course the records are a bit tricky and shady, and there's like various different conflicting stories. But apparently originally came from all the way back in biblical times, in the time of Jacob.
Wow.
So I'm no Bible expert.
Well, I am. And that was
the last time I read Genesis was probably when Genesis happened. But here's a quick rundown, and don't shoot me if I get it wrong.
I'm shooting you.
Okay. So in the book of Genesis, I think Jacob is one of the oldest characters in the Bible. And he is the guy that he was fleeing somebody, and on his flight, he stopped to rest, and he used some stones as a pillow.
Okay.
Goodness knows why. I know that in the time of the Flintstones, they didn't have posh Casper mattresses or whatever, but surely he would use like something a bit softer as his pillow than a stone. But anyway, according to the Bible, he used his stone as a pillow, and during his sleeping time, Karen's got a cat in her face.
Literally a cat's ass, to be completely.
I'm going to read a little bit from the Bible that actually is just copy and pasted from a website, but I'm sure it is from the Bible.
I just hope you don't burn, like burst into flames while you read it.
Spontaneously combust. Please don't.
You should get your big Bible and read from the real one.
I used to be, when I was younger, I actually used to have a fear of spontaneously combusting.
When you walked into churches and stuff?
No, I just was like, I remember seeing a picture of it in a book somewhere where it was like a picture of somebody that had been in a wheelchair and they'd spontaneously combusted, and it was just their hands and their feet left, and a pile of ash in between. And that terrified me for years. I used to go around thinking, what if that happens, and be absolutely terrified of it. So please don't talk about that. You're
sorry. Every time Jack and I walked into a cathedral on our Europe trip, we would be like, woo, we made it in without bursting into flames. It was like, we're grateful every single time. So we had a stone pillow.
Jacob went out towards Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night. Because the sun was set, he took off the stones of that place, and he put them for his pillows, and laid down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac, and the land whereon thou liest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed. And then wait for the next bit. He's telling him to go and have sex with lots of people. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
Oh, all right. You have to put really epic music.
I will.
During that, because that was amazing.
Now I've perfected the art of that.
And I'm glad you explained seed, because I was thinking I wasn't going the sexual route with that, which obviously that's what it is. So
I think that's
amazing.
what it is.
No, it is. Yeah, no, it definitely is.
So basically, this stone that Jacob put his head on, when he had the dream of the staircase going I keep thinking of
Stairway to
what's
Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven. Led
you-
Zeppelin, bit Led Zeppelin in there.
A little bit different.
What that is the Stone of Destiny.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that part of it.
What happened was it got passed on, and obviously there's like a whole heap of people that it got passed to, and that's a little bit of a shady or up for debate who got passed to what. We can't get onto that. We'll be here in 3 hours.
Okay.
But it got moved, and apparently it went from there, but this place called Bethel, which is now in Israel or somewhere, and then it got passed down to someone in Egypt, and then there was a king called Gaphilas who had to flee Egypt and went to Spain, and then the story goes that one of his descendants brought the stone to Ireland.
Oh, okay. So everyone knows this is like a sacred stone, basically. And they're like, as soon as God talks to Jacob, they were like, you have to keep this.
Yeah, because I was like, why is this stone? Why is just this? If you look at a picture of it, it's just a stone.
It's just it's a rectangle stone.
Rectangle stone.
Yes.
Nothing special about it.
Right.
But apparently that's why it's got all of this backstory. So it came to Ireland, and one of the kings of Ireland was crowned. I think the descendant of this guy that had it, his son became the king of Ireland, apparently, and then he was crowned on it. And then what happened was in the 1st century, so about maybe 600 or 700 AD, it's not called that now, is it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Common Era.
Yes.
Part of Scotland and part of Ireland were linked. Okay. It was the same kingdom. It was called the Kingdom of Dalriada, and the Scotland is actually called Scotland because the tribe of people called the Scotty came over from Ireland and settled in Scotland, in the western part of Scotland.
Okay.
But this kingdom was called Dalriada, and it was part of Ireland and Scotland.
Okay. Is that the lowland? Is that the lowland Scots? Because I thought the Highland Scots are settled by the Vikings and like a totally different.
It's actually an area of Scotland called Argyll.
Right. So it's like that's where the Campbells sit. Yeah, totally.
Yes. It's the west coast where there's Ireland here.
They're only 10 miles apart.
Ireland, and then Scotland here. And so that actually was part of the same kingdom.
Okay.
Please don't come for me if my history is wrong.
I'm coming for you.
We'll have to do an episode on like ancient Scottish history.
Oh, it's
which
so interesting.
Super interesting, because I really feel like that's a gap in my knowledge that I don't want to start speaking about it too much, because I'm sure I'm sure I'll put myself in the wrong position.
No, I'm following you, and I agree. It's super fascinating. Yeah, for sure.
So this king that came across.
Yep.
He was called Kenneth Mcalpin, and he was the 36th king of Dalriada, and he actually united the kingdoms here and moved his capital across into Scotland, and then that's when the stone moved to Scotland, and that was around 840 AD.
Okay.
And so at the time, his capital was in Scone. Now it is spelt like scone, like a biscuit. I think you Americans call them biscuits, and we call them scones. They're like a slightly sweet biscuit.
Yep. We call them biscuits, or we would call them scones.
Yeah, so it's spelt the same, but it actually is pronounced scone. And And that's where it stayed for a really long time. And all of the Scottish kings after Kenneth Mcalpin were crowned on the Stone of Destiny. So the Stone of Destiny,
gosh,
here's a really cool thing though.
Back so
the Stone
far.
of Destiny was set up on the top of this mound called Moot Hill, and in Scone, next to Scone Palace. And Scone is in Perthshire, which is in the lowlands of Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
The Moot Hill was actually a mound, an artificial mound. Do you know how it was created, Karen?
No, I don't.
I love this bit. It was created by earth that had been brought in the boots of all the lords who came to swear their loyalty to the king. So every time someone came to swear their loyalty to the king, they emptied some soil onto the mound, and then gradually the mound got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it became this little hill called the Moot Hill.
And then on top of that sits the Stone of Destiny, where
on top of that sits,
God, and it's been dragged around since the time of
but you know what? How the hell did they do that? Because how did they get it from like Israel to Scotland?
Can you put something that heavy on a horse?
Well,
like, what's the most a horse can carry?
You wait, because when it gets moved later, they need like this whole big setup and like cranes and like special machinery. So how did they manage to move it?
Yeah, I know.
Back then.
That's what I'm wondering. And by the way, just so you know, for timeline, it looks like Jacob is found in the Bible from 1836 BCE to 1689, which that's 200 years. I'm not sure how that actually happens, but just to get a...
Well, apparently people did live longer then.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. They lived for 200 years.
Yeah. Isn't there like some kind of song about Methuselah living 900 years?
Don't know about that. Maybe that's for a different podcast.
That's like a blues song or something, isn't it?
I don't know. But anyways, just so you know how old this goes back to, it's about 1800 years before Christ.
Yeah.
Right.
So this stone is super old.
So old. It's fascinating. Sorry, I wanted a date for that because I just, just helps us
bit of
conceptualize how old we're talking. Yeah.
So then what happened was that, so it was used to crown all the kings. All the kings would sit on it. I did look up whether people thought it was magical in any other way, other than the fact that it had belonged to
this history
from the history of the Bible, and why it was a king thing. I don't know, but maybe it was to do with the connection to God, and
I'm sure that's
is next to godliness.
I'm
and
sure
blah,
that's
blah, blah.
exactly why.
When I Googled, is the Stone of Destiny magical, I found a website called Gargoyles Wiki, which is obviously some sort of website about gaming or a nerdy thing.
Yeah.
So it's got the Stone of Destiny in its wiki, in its world, and it tells the same history about Jacob. So it starts off
with historical, quote unquote, accurateness.
Yeah. But wouldn't this be cool if this was true? That apparently this stone has various magical abilities, such as teleportation. Ooh. However, it can only be convinced to use these abilities by the answering of a riddle. When active, the stone glows blue.
Ooh, well, now we know how I moved everywhere. It was just freaking magical. So there you go.
And then, according to this wiki, which we know is just a game, whatever, King Arthur was crowned on it.
Get out.
And Macbeth was crowned on it.
What?
Yeah.
And they're still using it today.
Well, yes, they are. But there's the mystery.
I
I'm
know.
going to
Well,
get
that's okay.
into
I don't want to rush it. I don't want to
I'm going
rush
to
it.
get into the mystery as we
I
go along.
know. So fascinating.
So
This is a long, long history.
yes, it's
So cool.
stretches all this time.
Right.
So then what happened was in the 1300s, I've lost my place. Hang on. In the 1200s, the 13th century, obviously there was a lot of fighting between the Scots and the English. There always is. There always has been.
Yes.
There's, it's probably always will be a lot of fighting between the Scots and the English. King Edward the First.
Yeah.
So if you've ever watched, I think it's William Wallace, Braveheart, one of those films, that they're set around that time. King Edward the First, who was also known as the Hammer of the Scots, that was his nickname.
Yeah. I was just learning about him yesterday when I was watching the Secrets of the Great British Castles. They were talking all about him. He kicked the shit out of the Scots.
Yeah,
because he took over
nasty.
Edinburgh Castle and was relentless. It was awful.
So, because actually there was a lot of fighting around that time, and I think it even came up as far as here. I know that there are some battlegrounds from the 1200s all the way up here in the northeast of Scotland. So he stole the Stone of Destiny.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, such an asshole.
And magically teleported it, or however the hell he dragged it without mechanical help, such a big stone, all the way down to Westminster and put it in Westminster Abbey.
Such an affront to the Scots who've had it for the whole time.
Horrible. I mean, really, the thing is that people say, oh, why are the Scots so salty about the English and so keen on independence? This is why. It goes all the way back to these kinds of shenanigans that went on.
Forever. Yeah, bag of dicks, as
Leave us
Sean
alone.
likes to say. Seriously.
Don't steal our special magical stone.
I know. Yeah, get
why
your own
jealous?
Magical stone. What the hell?
We've got a magical stone.
I know.
Go get your own magical stone.
I know.
It's got nothing to do with you. It's ours. Anyway.
Yes, seriously. No, I'm with you, girl.
So he stole it. He took it back to Westminster. He had a wooden chair made in the 1301 to surround it. So this chair was made and it went on top and the stone slotted in underneath.
Right.
And it has been used ever since for the coronation of all the kings and queens in England.
Crazy.
Or if you want to be pedantic, you could say Great Britain.
Yeah.
But, let's face it, they're mostly English.
They stole your stone.
They stole my stone.
They
not
did.
mine. Not my person.
Oh my.
Stole my stone.
They stole my stone.
Well, the thing is, it could be any kind of stone. It just looks like a big, huge. It's sandstone, apparently, but it looks like a big granite boulder.
It's just a big rock. I know, but how cool is that? Special. That people are willing to willing to believe in its magic and holy powers, that they covet it, right? And want to steal it and protect it and use it for its power. That's cool.
Now, I did come across a website that suggested that it was not the real stone.
But there's a whole thing about it being stolen.
So this website suggested that that when King Edward was approaching Scone Palace to steal the stone, that the people there, the monks, replaced it with a fake stone, and he took the fake stone back down to Westminster and the real stone went into hiding.
Okay.
And it got lost.
Right. Right.
Because
there's like a
you know,
sordid history that then follows.
whoever hid it didn't remember where it'd
Oh
gone,
my
or
God. Or that
didn't
guy got
was so
murdered or
secretive that they
something.
didn't tell people where they'd put it. And then it just got lost through time. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So this website, I'm going to tell you the name of it because it was actually kind of funny. They were kind of a funny website. It was called Must See Scotland.
Okay. Must See Scotland.
Must See Scotland.
I'm writing it down.
So they were saying that apparently coins and things that date from that time show a much different stone.
Oh, interesting.
They show a stone that is so much bigger than that. Like it's actually big enough to sit on. And this, the actual stone of destiny, the one that's around now, has been tested, and the stone is said to be actual sandstone that is very, very similar to the sandstone that comes from the area of Scone, which would mean that it didn't come from Jacob and biblical times. It just came from Scone. Now, there could be the case that all the Jacob story is all bollocks, and it actually just was a stone from Scone.
Okay.
But if the Jacob story is not bollocks, then the stone that exists nowadays, it comes from Scone, is a fake stone that they let Edward have so that he wouldn't take the real one. And I'm going to quote this article because it's interesting. So apparently the coins that date from that time show a much larger stone, and also they appear to have carvings and stuff on it. And then they say it got lost through time, but in 1818 a certain Mr. Nairn of Dunsinane House near Scone followed up on a story he had heard from two local men. Some years before, when just young boys working on a local farm, they said that they went exploring a recent landslip on Dunsinane Hill around the site of an ancient hill fort known as Macbeth's Castle. They found a fissure, a hidden cave. Inside it was a black stone mysteriously carved. Nairn was interested, assembled a team of diggers and investigated. Their diggings eventually revealed this location once again. The real stone of Scone found.
Oh.
They found not just the stone as described by the farm lads, but also two round tablets with insignia, similar perhaps to the plaque-like objects seen illustrated in the Great Seals of Kings Malcolm V, Alexander I, and David I, their Scottish kings. According to newspaper accounts at the time, the curious stone has been shipped to London for the inspection of the scientific amateur in order to discover its real qualities. Well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? The Scots couldn't be trusted to draw the right conclusions, perhaps, especially as backward northern province of North Britain. But oddly enough, that stone has not been seen since. Apparently, it was not only black, but semi-metallic in appearance, as if it was a meteoric in origin. That's from the Must See Scotland website. So they're suggesting that actually the original stone of destiny was a much bigger stone that was black, that had carvings. It was hidden when Edward came, and
so
Edward was given this crappy stone,
crappy
piece of sandstone, and then this one, when it was discovered in the 1800s, then also mysteriously disappeared when it went down to England for verification. Because the thing is that if you wanted to be super fussy about this, every I did watch this video on YouTube that was clearly made by a very staunch Scottish nationalist,
Mm-hmm.
because he then started going on about how if the stone is fake, then every king and queen that was crowned on it afterwards is not the true king and queen. They're fake
Oh.
kings and queens, including Queen Elizabeth
Mm.
II, which also means that every act of she authorizes judges.
Right.
And so that is also not legal anymore if she's not actually a queen.
Oh boy.
That anyone that's like been
Right.
a law that's been passed is also not legal
Oh
because she's
boy.
not actually the
Right,
queen,
right,
and
right.
so on and so on and so on.
That so, but there's more instances where it's been stolen.
Yes, there is. So I'm just going to get into that. So it was also stolen in the 1950s, on Christmas Day in 1950.
Right.
And this is what the film is about, the Stone
Mm-hmm.
of Destiny film that I
Mm-hmm.
might watch tonight in bed.
I know you make me want to watch this tonight too.
So on Christmas Day in 1950, so 4 Scottish students, the leader was a guy called Ian Hamilton, and he was like a nationalist, a Scottish nationalist. They snuck into Westminster Abbey and they stole the Stone of Destiny.
Okay, can we just talk about how badass that is, by the
It is
way?
totally
That's the
badass.
coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
They were
So cool.
like, not on my watch. And they like ran in and grabbed it. And first of all, it's 335 pounds. So
How did they grab it? I just
what?
haven't got, I'm really props to them, because when it got moved in later times, it took all this equipment and fancy
I know.
equipment, and they just managed to grab it.
Was it
But
4 guys? Was it 4 guys? Weren't they all at
4.
university
I
together?
think, was there one woman? I'm not sure.
Ooh, I don't know.
But yeah, I think they were students, and they were obviously really into the idea of Scottish independence.
Mm-hmm.
And so while they were removing it, the stone broke and a chunk came off.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so it did get repaired, and there are like iron rods put in it now.
Like rebar.
Yeah. But they took it all the way up to Scotland. There was a huge big search. The police and the government put on this search for the Stone of Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
but they couldn't find it anywhere. But eventually, the people that had stolen it
These
left
kids.
it
Yeah.
sitting on the altar of Arbroath Abbey. Now, Arbroath Abbey is a significant place because Arbroath Abbey is where the Declaration of Arbroath was made in 1320, which was basically the Scots justifying that they needed to be free of the English and have independence. They wrote to the Pope and they declared that they wanted independence. So they left it there. They left it there in April. So they had it hidden for like 4 months before they gave it back. And I think they thought that by leaving it in the Abbey that the church wouldn't give it back to England, but the church did give it back to England. The police got it and they returned it to Westminster. But at that point, there were also rumors that that stone was a fake.
Right. That's the part that I thought was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, good for those kids that they went in and stole it. That is so cool.
But come on.
I know.
It was a Scottish stone that was stolen by
I know.
Edward. It shouldn't be in Westminster Abbey to begin with.
No, it should not have been. It should not have been at all.
I know.
It's bad enough that Edward came and murdered so many Scots and took over and then stole their stone. And the English should have been like, oh, my bad. Okay. we're
allowed
going
to
to
be
rule you, but at least get your stone back. That would be
I
nice.
know. We're allowed to be salty over it.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
I think it's 100% justified.
Yeah. So actually what's happened is that in the 1990s, in 1996 to be exact, there was a decision made that the Stone of Destiny should return to Scotland. So the last monarch to be coronated,
yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast about this earlier on today as I was walking, and every time he said Coronation Stone, all I could think in my head was Coronation Street, which is a soap opera here in the UK.
It's a little bit different.
And I think he even said that by mistake once, but I could be wrong. I could have just imagined it in my head because I was expecting him to say it.
Right.
So at the time there was a Tory government, and there was an election coming up, and the Tories have always had a really bad standing in Scotland. They never get a lot of votes, and I think they were trying to win votes over, much in the same way that they kind of lied their way through the independence referendum and Brexit by promising things that they never delivered on. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm not going to go too much into politics.
Yeah, we are.
But they so they said, well, we think that the Scots should have the Stone of Destiny back in Scotland. Queen Elizabeth was coronated on it in 1953. So she probably thought, thank God I got this stone back from its stealing before my dad popped his clogs and I got made queen. Although this guy on YouTube is to believe it wasn't the real stone, so she's not really queen, which means that royal family.
Right.
That
all a lie. It's all a lie. She has no power.
I know.
The Stone of Destiny.
So they decided that they were going to return the stone back up. And it is in Edinburgh Castle along with the crown jewels.
Yay!
In Edinburgh Castle. I found a website that had 20 facts for 20 years. So basically this blog post was written in 2016, 20 years after it was returned back to Edinburgh. And some of these fun facts are super interesting.
Oh,
so I'm going to read some of them.
Yay. It's awesome.
Oh, and by the way, the Labour got in. The Tories didn't win. So, at that time. So they didn't manage to bribe any Scottish votes. Anyway, even if we did get our Stone of Destiny back.
It's all right.
But the thing is that
we got it back.
We might have got it back, but the next time there's a coronation in England, it gets transported back down to Westminster and then back up to Scotland again.
But how funny is that like the English are like, yeah, can we just borrow that real quick so our queen or king can sit on it real quick, and then you can have it right back. And like that's how much power it has. Like
I know.
I love that they're not willing to let it go.
There is a whole ceremony that they go through when that they get coronated, where they get like anointed with oil, and they have to take off they've got poor person's robes, but they're not really, but you know what I mean. And then they get fake poor person's robes, and then they get derobed, and they get the proper ones. And it is about being like a servant to the church at the same time. And so maybe that's why the stone is so important, but it's still a weird thing. It's why is it? Isn't it strange as humans that we place so much significance on a thing?
I know, it's fascinating. That's fascinating.
And it's like, if you don't have that thing, it's not done properly.
Right.
But really that thing is just a chunk of stone.
It's a rock. It's a literal rock, but it's more than a rock, right? It symbolizes so much more. And then it goes back to like it's perhaps holy roots. I love it. I love that we're still to this day not willing to let it go, and that
I
there's
know.
still more. It's like just as significant. They're like, just in case it's like magical and ordained by God, can we just have that back real quick for the ceremony? We'll give it right back. I love that.
Do you think it's because we're superstitious as well? Like, do you think they're worried that if they don't get coordinated on it, that something will go wrong? Like it's a bad omen? I know that humans are super bad for being really like not suspicious, what's it?
Yeah, there's like
Superstitious over stuff like
superstitions.
that.
Yeah.
And they're maybe like, we better get coordinated on it just in case. Because if we do it without, then maybe like there's going to be fire and brimstone. Right. But let's face it, the royal family have not had much luck lately.
No. Well, what I've learned, one of the like most significant takeaways that I've had, I think, since starting our podcast, as ridiculous as it is through all of our research, I think it's put into perspective that, you know, like growing up, I think in the quote unquote, you know, modern times, and we're, you know, because we're in the now, we feel like we're like more superior and better educated and above our historical ancestors and every generation that's come before us, right? We're smarter, we know because we've learned. And I think what it's like knocked into perspective is that like, actually,
that's not true at all.
That is not true at all.
That's so not true.
And we are just as superstitious as kind of we've always been. I mean, look how like politics are going backwards right now, especially in the United States. Don't get me started. It just goes to show you like, no, we haven't evolved. And there's actually like, we're like in the middle of it still. Absolutely. And we're not better than our ancestors. And we're still making really fucking dumb decisions. And, you know,
and people still like fight over stupid stuff.
And we are superstitious. And
yes. You know, are you team Amber or team Johnny?
It's ridiculous. And so we're not really
and have like, you know, all these memes that have all this stuff is basically just the 21st century version of like weird pamphlets that they would have in the 1700s, or
like comics in you know, the 70s or whatever. And I feel like it is exactly so. I feel
no
it's
different.
We are no different, and it's very humbling to be like, oh, actually, we haven't actually progressed very much at all, or we would be beyond all this stuff, and we would have equal rights, and people would love each other no matter what. And you know what I'm saying? Like we're actually, and we're going backwards in a lot of aspects right now.
And then if you think about it, it's things like, you know, the adverts that you see when you scroll Facebook for stuff that's claiming that it's gonna like cure all your ills or whatever.
Oh yeah, same thing.
And then that's exact
just thing.
That's just the 21st century version of the Victorian snake oil salesman.
I know. Well, how about the Etsy shop we were looking at earlier today?
Yes. Hello? Oh my God, are we gonna slag it off on air because it's so funny?
Well, but that's how
we can do it without naming the shop.
Like 1600s is that though?
I know. Karen, please explain what this was because it was hilarious.
Okay, I have to do it quick because I have to pee so bad. So I was researching fairy references for I'm running like a 20-week long free fairy drawing thing on my YouTube, on one of my YouTube channels. And I was researching fairy references, gorgeous digital art pieces and things that we could use for inspiration for these drawings. And, you know, I'm on Pinterest. And so when you click through these pins, I was actually trying to find out who the artist was. I thought this gorgeous fairy artwork I was landing on, I thought when I was clicking the Etsy shop, it would take me to the artist who was selling their work. But what it took me to, oh God, this is so bad, was an Etsy seller who was using this amazing fairy artwork to sell, how do I even say this? Spiritual bonds with imaginary supernatural creatures looking like this stolen artwork images. That's what's happening. So they're selling random pieces of jewelry like rings that would symbolize a communion of souls between this stolen artwork. So you're supposed to purchase this ring for $50 to $60. The Etsy seller would collect your birth date and personal information, and they would conduct a spiritual communion between yourself and the supernatural creature that looked like this digital image.
I know, so weird.
And then you're
so
sent
weird.
a piece of like junk, but in return for your money, you're getting a spiritual bond. Oh my God. Is it $15.69?
It sounds like it
I
could
feel
be.
like it is.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Such a scam. That is a scam. And these
That's a total
people
scam.
think that they're like buying, what are they buying? They're buying junk in return for a spiritual bond.
Well, I then found one that for the grand sum of
Oh my God, it was like
$577.
$600.
It was more than $600 because that was in pounds.
Right.
So about $800.
Right, what was that?
Could remove the spiritual bond if it was a demonic one.
It's probably the same Etsy seller who's selling the
it was a different one because
but it'd be more genius if it was the same one because she's selling the
after
antidote.
You showed me, I searched in I did a search in Etsy for something like
spiritual bonds.
Well, it was remote binding or
that's
whatever.
What it's called. Yeah, it's called remote. I think it is called that, right?
I did a search. There are a shit ton of sellers selling those. And all they do is they put up like a nice photo of something,
which is someone else's
stolen artwork,
right?
And then do a remote thing. So it's like you pay me $60 and I will imagine you having a fairy next to you, and then you will have a fairy next to you. Yeah. And that person is probably doing absolutely nothing.
I know. And in the
listings, if you're one of these sellers,
seriously,
but yeah, it's like something out of the 16th century.
I was dumbfounded, and they have all these crazy reviews that are like, yes, I can feel my spiritual and sexual bond with this spirit, and like the pronouns and the listings aren't even, because there's like typos. Like, I just feel these poor people that are buying into that must be so desperate for like human connection. I want to be like, no, call me. I will be your actual real friend. You don't need to purchase this ring for an imaginary bond. Like, you need a real human bond, sister friend. It's so sad. It made me so sad. That should be a crime. That should be a crime.
We are no more advanced than we were. That is 500 years ago.
No. Yeah.
We think we are, but we are not.
No, I could not agree more. Yeah. It's been very humbling to realize how actually not advanced we are.
We are basically still little creatures stumbling about on a planet.
I know.
Panicking about what we're doing here, why we're here. What's going to happen when we're no longer here?
I know. I do think it's like the curse of consciousness. It's like we have this intelligence and we don't know what to do with it. Yeah. And so we go crazy instead.
It'd be so much easier to be a dog.
You'd just be dumb. Look at Maggie. She's in bliss. She's just taking a nap.
Sleeping on the
Seriously. Like, that's amazing.
I know. I would like to come back as a dog.
I know. I used to think that growing up all the time. Like, I just wish I was a cat.
Hey, Maggie.
My life would be so much better if I was a cat. I was like growing up as a teenager and my life was all dramatic. I'm like, why can't I be a cat? And someone just massages me. I would feel so good.
Or a dog and like sleep all day and have somebody
all I wanted
in front of me, and I don't have to do dishes or think about it.
Give me massages. Like, I know. I used to just cry desperately, just so sad that I came about in human form. But it's true. It really is true. Oh my gosh.
I feel that way. I still feel that way.
I know. I do too.
I know. Anyways, I'm gonna fire through some of these fun facts.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Okay.
I probably won't tell you all of them,
Okay.
but
We have 3 minutes.
okay, I'm
Go.
sure I can speed read.
Yeah, you can.
Well, maybe not, but
Just because I have
yeah. So a lot of these are to do with the Stone of Destiny getting returned back to Scotland in
Okay.
1996. They consulted the public over where the stone should go. And one of the suggestions was a pub in Glasgow.
Love it. Love it.
I'm sure it was Glaswegians that suggested that.
I love that so
They
much.
had to be so secretive about the movement. So there was an announcement that in Parliament that the stone was going to return, but all of the details were kept in secret. They drove a van down from Edinburgh to collect the stone, and the van actually had what is called the St Andrew's sarcophagus, which is a 9th century Pictish masterpiece from St Andrew's Cathedral, and it was being taken on loan to the British Museum. So they took that down in the same van that the Stone of Destiny went back up. And it was Historic Scotland that took the Stone of that arranged the movement of the Stone of Destiny up to Scotland, and they had to do it in under cover of darkness. They were taken into central London, and it says, and I quote, they had to wait covertly in a side street until the abbey had closed to visitors, and then they got taken in the back to move the stone. It was all done totally secret. They had to design a special scaffold to carry into the abbey and put over the coronation chair to get the stone out, which did make me wonder how the students managed to do it in the 1950s.
4 of them with their bare hands.
Or maybe that's like the 1950s version of like, how did they manage to build the pyramids without any?
Right.
No.
They just winged it.
Yeah. I don't know how they managed to do it.
Yeah.
So they had all this special equipment. That they had this hand-built barrow, which moved the stone, and they had to rehearse doing it at Edinburgh Castle before they even did it down in Westminster.
Because it was so complicated and so much.
Well, but also students snuck in Christmas Day in 1950 and just stole it. So maybe somebody's making a fuss here, which does make me think, we're England being like, well, you can have this back, but it's going to be really difficult. So difficult. Are you sure you want it back? It's going to take so much planning. It's going to take so much planning, and it's going to cost us millions, because we're going to have to employ all these people to sort all this out and do all these rehearsals and make all this special equipment, and we're going to charge the Scottish government all this money so that you can get your stone back. There's maybe it was that. Maybe it was just a bit of skullduggery going on.
Oh, I love that.
By the English government to make a huge grand big fuss, because let's face it, 4 students went in
with their bare hands and just grabbed it
and transported it all the way up to Scotland. So they had all this specialist team that took it and moved it up, and it was moved up under police escort. So it was moved in like the middle of the night, and then they moved it under police escort all the way up to Scotland. When it got back to Scotland, it was taken to a secret location, and then it was taken to Edinburgh Castle. And while it was in its secret location is when they did some studying of it. They discovered pins, and they also discovered at the time a little vial that had been poked into one of the crevices.
Oh, really?
Had writing on it.
No way.
And that was put in the 1970s, and apparently that was put in because after it had been stolen in the 1950s, and the the rumor was that it was a fake stone.
Mm-hmm.
They did this so that if it was stolen again,
Oh, they would know.
they would know.
Oh, that's so cool. Is that one
Yeah.
of the 16 facts
These are all some
together?
of the
Oh,
20
okay.
facts. I'm just reading
Oh,
and
okay.
missing some out
Got
because
it. Okay.
they're kind of go into
Okay.
one.
That's super interesting.
So apparently they did, when they cleaned it, it was super dirty. When they cleaned it, they
It's an emergency.
okay,
Okay, wait.
go.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Yeah, so they actually took it to this conservation center before they took it to Edinburgh Castle, and they cleaned it, and they did find that it did have some like strange markings on it that can be interpreted. So
was this like metallic though? Remember they said like there was a discrepancy between
one, well, that the rumor was that the original stone was metallic, and
okay,
it's the one that went missing
right,
in the 1300s, when in 1200s, when it was
okay,
stolen
okay,
by Edward. And this is
way
the one
long,
that is
okay,
sandstone, the one that
which is
is
there
existing
now,
today.
right?
It's
Okay,
there now.
right. I love that it just keep the mystery and
You
intrigue
know,
and
so
power is
we could
right
be
up
on to
until
our
today.
third stone of destiny.
Right.
So you know, you
Right.
never know. It's not even magical anymore.
Right.
It's like,
What
was Kim Kardashian's Marilyn dress the real Marilyn dress or the fake Marilyn dress?
right.
And does it really matter? Was it the symbolism of it or whatever bullshit? I can't believe I'm even talking about that, but never mind. Yeah, so the stone was taken first of all to the Palace of Holyrood, and then it was in St Andrew's Day taken to the Great Hall in Edinburgh Castle, where Prince Andrew, he's the one in disgrace now, isn't he? Is he the one in disgrace?
Yeah, because didn't he abdicate? Was that him?
Well, he's not king, so you can't abdicate. But
That's
he
a
was.
good point.
He had his.
Oh, right.
Power stripped off him.
I'm sorry.
He had all his stuff stripped off him, didn't he?
No, I can't remember why.
Because he was friends with Epstein.
Oh, okay. Not caught up.
He was friends with Epstein, and he was found guilty of having an affair with that girl when she was only 17.
Right, well, maybe we need to do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, so he's in disgrace. Yeah, so he was the one that presented it, transferred it back to Scotland. Hey, lowly Scots people. I, one of the royal family that stole your stone 1,000 years ago, is giving it back to you because aren't we good? There's no bitterness in my voice at all.
So now it's in Edinburgh Castle now.
It's in Edinburgh Castle, although apparently they are in 2020, it was declared that they were making some kind of special exhibition space in near Scone.
Oh, that's nice.
Be put there. I think it was still go back to when I was there.
I know, I'm trying to remember. I think it was when I was there too.
Yeah.
But when when Queen Elizabeth dies, and Charles becomes king, then they'll move it back to Westminster for his coronation.
Yes.
And then back to Edinburgh. And at least there's like a nice to and fro relationship going on. I still love that the Scots still get it though at the end of the day. Like the English are just borrowing it real quick and then giving it back. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yes, you could say
at least they
like
know
that.
its home belongs in Scotland and it gets it back and they're borrowing its power for a hot second. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's a way of trying to placate us, because
think so?
really the reason why it was stolen in the 50s in the first place was the notion that none of it should be anything to do with England at all, that we
True.
should have independence from Scotland,
Right,
that
right. That it
not
no,
only was our
agreed.
stone stolen, but our
Independence was as
our
well. I
independence
know.
was as well.
But you have to feel a little bit good though when the English have to bring it back, You're like, yeah, that's right. Come on, bring it, bring it back, put it where it belongs. Thank you. I think that's kind of puts them it has the upper hand. Do
I
you
guess.
not think so?
I guess so.
The English don't want to give it back. They're like, ugh, here, take your stupid stone. I mean, Scots are like, yeah, give me my goddamn stone. It's ours.
Apparently, the Queen says that she can trace her ancestry all the way back to someone in biblical times, King David, I think it was.
Oh God.
But who knows?
Come on.
And do you know what? At that point, probably half the people living on Earth. If Jacob had his way and sowed his seed, east, west, north, and south,
everyone is a descendant.
Everyone's a descendant.
So true. So basically, we're all queens. That's what we're saying.
We're all queens.
Bottom line, we're all royalty.
We are.
Good job.
Well, the thing is, like, who decides what makes one person king or queen and the rest of us not anyway? It's ridiculous. They are no different from us, apart from the fact that at one point, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they decided that they were going to be the king.
Well, somebody lost a battle and someone won a battle is why. It's just went back to some murder.
But they're not like special magical beings.
No, they're not. They're humans with symbolic power.
Yeah.
Is what they are.
Yeah.
I see a dog paw poking out of the top of your head. I see your head, and then there's just this little sprout of a dog paw.
He's doing his roaching
his very special greyhound
roach.
You can see his back legs.
Look at him.
He's so cute. He is the cutest thing ever. Maggie's behind me eating a plastic bottle. She just chewed on it. Yep. It's the story of my life. Oh, I gotta go. Sean Campbell is back. He just walked in the door. So that
you missed
includes sure. So much. So much. Yeah, it's been a long week. Yes, I can't survive without my man. I just don't know what to do with myself. So I'm so glad he's back. Oh my gosh. I do need to run though, but you wrapped up, right? Did we leave anything?
Sure. I don't think so. No.
Turned?
I think we covered it all.
Unturned? Oh,
no stones unturned.
Okay. Yeah, it's such a fascinating thing. I love it. I'm so glad you covered it. I've been wanting to cover it since we literally started 41 episodes ago.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy
I know.
town.
We should do some more like Scottish history.
Yeah, I love it.
Rundowns, because they're
for sure.
super interesting.
And if we do a little chunk at a time, then we actually will get, we can do little tiny periods.
Actually, there's a lot that I don't know that I'd like to learn more
and there's
about.
so much is so interesting. Oh my God, Mary Queen of Scots and all the Jameses and just so much. And it's all tied into like the witch trials. Like there's so many cool things that all kind of are intertwined. So it'd be fun to take little chunks of that and do like a little close up. I enjoy it so much. Well, thank you, Lucy, for all your hard work in the last 34 minutes before we aired. It was really appreciated.
A little bit more than that. I did listen to like a couple of podcasts while I was walking.
I'm just giving you a hard time because I know exactly how it is. But I really do appreciate it. It was really
research
interesting.
is our specialty.
Our forte. Yes.
It is our magical power.
Yes. Whipping Wikipedia articles out of a hat at the last second is our forte for sure. Well, thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing next, but I'm really loving the spiritual creature and maybe a ghosty thing. I like the supernatural angles as well. but I do
Yeah.
really love the history also. I really just love it all. So
There's just so
who
much
knows?
to choose
There
from.
is so
I'm going to
much
check out
to
that
choose from.
Castles program. What's it called again?
It's called The Secrets of Great Britain Castles or something like that.
Oh, I'm going to check that out.
Yes.
And
Dan
the Stone of
Jones.
Destiny film.
Hi, Sean Campbell. All right. And on that note, I gotta go.
Bye.